Big hello, another day in the life of the challenge. What I want to share with you today is a few service accommodation tips that I've come across over the many years that I've been dealing with service accommodation. The first one is the use of lock boxes. Now, lock boxes are great if you want to do remote check-ins, which are particularly good in the whole COVID crisis. But what I would suggest to you, which is a really good idea, is to have a lockbox for the guests, but always have a spare lockbox, because the number one thing that seems to go wrong with guests is often, when it comes to keys, is the fact that they either lose them or something happens to the key. So to save you having to go out in the middle of the night, I would say definitely to have a spare lockbox, a main lockbox for the keys, and a spare one, an emergency set, is always an absolute must. The second thing I would share with you is I think it's an absolute necessity to have some kind of CCTV. Now, the reason I say this is because you can always then keep an eye on what's going on in the building. You can watch who's coming in and out of the building. And it's a really good way of keeping an eye on your service accommodation, particularly for people that are taking on one bed or more apartments or houses, because sometimes, although at the moment a lot of us are getting corporate guests, what happens in normal times, we can get weekend guests who decide that they're going to throw a party, and it can actually wreck it. So if you have CCTV, it will enable you to keep an eye on that. Now, if you don't own the serviced accommodation, the other option is to get one of the Ring bells, which also have fitted CCTV, which you can link to your phone. So again, you can keep an eye on who's coming in, who's coming out, and you can keep an eye on the property that way. The other thing I would say is really, really good to have for serviced accommodation, because another big bugbear and things that often go wrong, which people will leave really bad feedback on, is central heating. Now, often what happens with central heating, people have different ideas of what's warm and what's cold. So I have either the Hive system is one of the systems that I use, so I can actually monitor that from my phone, and I can turn it up and down from my phone. So if somebody comes in, particularly from overseas, and they're feeling it's super cold, you can then adjust that accordingly on your phone. You can also adjust when the hot water comes on and off. So those are three little tips that I would share for people who are starting out in serviced accommodation. Today I spent a long time actually working with Booking.com. I'm on one of their development panels, and I'm going to share with everybody tomorrow that's in serviced accommodation some of the things that are happening at the moment on Booking.com, how to maximise your bookings and things that you can do. So looking forward to another day tomorrow. Take care, and thanks very much for watching. Take care.